Good evening, YouTube. Tonight I'm going to try to make a video to explain how I use this program, JoyToKey, to program one of these, a cheap $20 Xbox controller, to control my Crossfire XR. First thing, it doesn't really matter what kind you get. I have that one. I also have this one. The only thing that matters, they plug into your computer. This one has a dongle that looks like that. The other one has a dongle that looks like that. There is currently two joysticks here in JoyToKey, joystick 1 and joystick 2. And I just did that to, this one runs on 2 AA batteries. This one is USB-C rechargeable. So pick one. And you'll notice that when you use the joystick, you have buttons lighting up on your thing. That's what the JoyToKey is seeing. And all you have to do in the function column is program it to what do you want it to do. So there again, I'm doing this one-handed. So what I did first is you'll see stick 1. I have mouse in all 4 directions. So what that looks like on a screen, if I go up to my Fire Control run screen here, and like I said, this is going to be difficult. You see my mouse go in all kinds of circles there. And that's just simply programming this stick 1. If I double click it, it will bring up this thing. I have it as mouse, and I have the speed at 12 because it's a lot easier to control. I have the acceleration at 0.4. There again, you can do whatever you want. This is in the, not under the keyboard, not keyboard mode, but under mouse. So that's what the stick 1 does. We'll cancel this. And then next thing you'll see for stick 2, left and right, I have nothing programmed. And then up and down, I have page up down. So what that gives me is Z control on the, you'll see page up down. That gives me Z axis control on my XR. If you look over there, you can see my Z axis going up and down. Now I have nothing programmed for left and right, just up and down on that stick. Next thing, I have my the D-pad. This is actually very straightforward. D-pad, it's just simply keyboard basic emulation. It's my arrow buttons, or my arrow keys. So I keep this brief and to the point. You'll see my D-pad, which is obviously this one right here. It's just left, right, up, down. And then we move into the rest of the buttons. Now the only way you know what these are is by getting your controller and starting to press buttons, and you'll see them light up. And in this case you have X, Y, and your A and B. And so in this case, button 4 is Y, and I programmed that one to space. And you'll know if you go to Fire Control and you go to the upper corner here underneath Help, keyboard shortcuts looks like this. Obviously your arrow keys, your page up down for your Z, and then you have your tab. Start program is Alt R, which interestingly enough I haven't got that one to work very well. There's your pause is space, stop is Alt S, 0 is Alt X, and Alt Y, 0 all axes is Alt W, and home is Alt plus H. So knowing that information that you'll find in Fire Control, you can come down here. And so what I did with my X, Y, and A, B buttons, X I thought would be nice to program that one to do a Alt W, which is 0 all axes. The cool part about that is you can use your D-pad to drive around where you want on your sheet, and then hit the X, and that literally does X marks the spot. That is your home. So that was easy to program. You just do button 3 as Alt W, and the way you stack that is you just simply put them in order here. It's a keyboard emulation in BASIC. You just put Alt in the first box, W in the next box, and the next two are blank. And it just simply has no auto repeat, has no toggle. You just simply put those in those boxes. And then I have button 4, which is Y as space, and it's yellow. So that just pauses the program. Pause, resume. Works really good. And then my A button, you'll see it is lighting up, or let's go with the B one first. B is Alt S, that's stop. It's red, it stops the program. So when there's a program running and there's something goes wrong, you can hit the red one here, and it does an Alt S. And the green button here is program start, and you'll start to notice that I have these. It performs a left click at this coordinate. Now this is a 2K monitor up here, and so what those coordinates look like is going to be different for each and every screen. So this is underneath mouse advanced. It does, and you just kind of, there's where it's showing. Like your coordinate is from 0 to 100 across your whole screen. 0 being there, 100 by 100 being there. And so this one is doing a left click at 517, which interestingly enough lands right up there on the start. If I do a, make sure my cursor's in this page, and I hit my green button on here, you'll notice it does, it clicks literally right there. So I hit stop. Now I've stopped my program, and then I can do another press of my thing, and it closes that dialog box. So that button 1 is a left click at that coordinate. And then moving on, you'll see I have buttons programming other buttons. So when I discovered that I could stack more than one thing, I went all the way down. These are virtual buttons. Button 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32 are all virtual buttons that I can call in a sequence without messing up this button stack. So what that does for me is when I do a sequence, like here you'll see button 12, which happens to be the trigger. It's my right hand trigger on my controller. You'll see it has button 29, 28, 27, and 31. And if you open that up, you will see that it is in keyboard multi. Input 1 is 29, then 28, and then 27, and then 31. And down here in the options, I have switch rotation. It does input 1 to input 2 to input 3 to input 4 to input 1. It just rotates through them. And what that does is when I am in fire control and I'm on the other side of my table and I would like to jog, it allows me to hit my trigger, and so it is toggling through my speeds one at a time. It doesn't hit the 400 one because I have my right button, this button here, programmed to always land on 400. See how it's when I'm clicking this, it's hitting the 400. But this trigger will toggle through my speeds, and then if I'm going slow and I instantly want 400 inches a minute, I'll just hit the other button. And right along with that, on the left button like that, I have tab, which that one just programmed the tab, so it just toggles my continuous or my step, which that's a fairly basic feature there. And I probably might have missed this, but the trigger on the left is where's my mouse? Can't find this. The trigger on the left is it's just simply mouse left click, so I can actually drive my mouse around, and notice if I click the trigger, it does a left click. So the other trigger is a toggle through speeds, and with this one being 400 inches a minute. How did I make it land on there? Trial and error. You see that one lands there. That one lands a little bit higher. That one's about right in the middle. That one lands right in the middle. So yeah, you just have to do a little bit of trial and error to figure out what. So if we go to button 29, 28, and 27, and I open one of those, it's showing that I'm doing a left click at 95.48, 95.43, 95.40, 95.58, and so on and so forth. And so I can just come down here and modify those rather than change my stack. Up here, this stack never changes. I don't have to come up there. I can just change my location. Same thing with one-click homing that I did. So I have the start button programmed to do homing. You'll see it has, if I can get it to focus, button 8 is the start button on the controller, and that does an Alt-H plus button 32. And the reason for that is when you hit Alt-H, it asks for confirmation. Like if I go up here to the fire control and I hit, there it is, home. Then this dialog box pops up that says, hey, are you sure you want to do this, whatever, home machine. And so it doesn't do any good to have a shortcut. You still need to be by your computer to make that work. So what I did down here is your Alt-H plus button 32. There again, this is a keyboard multi. You stack Alt and then H on top of each other because that's the first thing that it calls, and then button 32, which button 32 happens to be a left click on that dialog OK box or the home machine thing. And right here it says execute from input 1 to input 4 in sequence at the specified duration. So let's see what I have for duration. I have a 20 millisecond duration, so it'll press Alt-H for me and then button 32 in 20 milliseconds apart. It'll execute them in sequence. So button 32 is going to be a left click at 57.52, which, as you can see there, is going to land somewhere in the middle of my 100 by 100. And yeah, best way I can tell you what it does there is it jumps the cursor to the target position when this button is pressed, and then it jumps it to that coordinate and it performs a left click. And so this up here is my primary display, so it's obviously working from the top down. Multiple displays make it a little bit different. So that's how I did that. Let's see. What else didn't I hit yet? One of the things that I use a good bit is to be able to return to my work 0. Like this button right here, go to work 0, is very useful. I have that one programmed to the, let's see here, back. So I use back because that makes me think of I want to go back to my X, Y coordinates. So if I press back, the table went back to the XY coordinates of my water pump flange there. And so if I drive it around, oh, I'm in really slow mode here. If I drive it around, there I'm at 400 inches a minute, and then I press back, it will do a left click at the go to work 0. You see my mouse cursor moved right there. And then, so let's just do a dry run of this program just to show you a little bit what I'm talking about. So obviously green is go, and so I hit green and it starts to cut or pretend to cut. And then if I want to do a pause, yellow button, that is obviously paused. And then to go again, you have to hit green. So I hit my green button, because space is not unpause. Space is just pause. So now it's paused again, and then green button makes it go again. And you can be doing that from across the room instead of coming over here to the table. Okay, I messed something up there when I was doing the dry run, but anyway, I'm going to show you how I home my machine. If I hit start, which does a homing thing, you'll see that the cursor is right here, my mouse is there, and my machine is homing. That's what I talk about when I say one button home. So obviously don't press that button unless you want to home the machine. So the other, that's what I was going to show you. If you are running this program, let's 0xy right there, and then make sure we do a dry run. This one-handed video is less than ideal. At any rate, hit the green button for go, and then let's suppose something goes bad wrong and you hit stop. And what it's going to do is bring up a dialog box that says the program has been canceled and you have to walk back to the computer. What I did was pushing straight down on the left joystick makes a left click right where that dialog box is. I don't even know which button that is. Straight down on my left joystick. Let's see if it shows up here. It is, there it is. It's button 9. I have programmed for a left click at 5748, and that is just to click the OK dialog box on a stop. So you'll see there's a lot of buttons I didn't use. There's other buttons, and some of these are dead. I put them in there and then ended up not using them. But I've quickly discovered that it's easier to just create a virtual button like this and then call it with a physical button. That's why you'll see up here I have button 6 calling button 30. So I don't mess with my mapping. I just go to button 30 and change it around instead of messing up my so button 30, that's just simply it there again. You can call in your keyboard, you can call your virtual button that you created all the way down at the bottom. So yeah, that's just about it. I don't know if I'm missing anything. This JoyToKey is a free program. I did pay them a couple bucks for it because I like when people make utilities that make my life easier, and it's basically pay for it a little bit if you feel like supporting the developers. So yeah, there's my stack. It's very simple, just a bunch of left clicks at coordinates, and those are all going to be found underneath Mouse Advanced. And if you're going to stack them, I have a few obviously where I have you stack multiple things like my homing sequence, and then my clicking all your different speeds. That's just simply a cycle through. The stuff that needs to be multiple clicks, I just have those as like my homing sequence. There again, it just has a 20 millisecond delay between calling Alt H and button 32. So yeah, it's very powerful once you figure it all out and mess with it. Basically, trial and error is your friend, especially when, so this is a 1080 monitor or laptop screen here. This is a 2K 2500 by, I'm not sure. But the other thing you'll notice about if I'm in this program messing about and I'm pressing my buttons, it's not going to do anything. Like, it's not controlling fire control even though I'm pressing my controller. You have to have this utility open, but you have to be active in this window. Like if I click in this window, now it becomes, this window is active and this one's just there, and then now you can see my tables being driven by my controller. So If the JoyToKey utility is not open on your computer, your controllers won't work. It can be minimized as long as it's open. See, there it is down on the taskbar. And so yeah, that's about it. It starts automatically for me when I open up the computer, and it doesn't matter which one I grab, this one or this one, but you just have to wake them up and they both do the same thing. That's been about it. If you have any more questions, put them in the comments and I will try to answer them. For myself, it has completely transformed the ability for me to be, say, all the way over here, and let's zero the XY here, and of course I got a big screen so I can read it, and then hit start from here. If something goes wrong from over here, I can hit the X, the stop, and I can clear the fault and continue to drive it. I can do homing, I can do Z up down. That was one of the things that for me, if you don't have a computer with a dedicated page up down, it gets frustrating to run your Z axis. And here I just have it on a stick, and then you have your speeds, and I can toggle through my speeds if I want to go really fine. See there, it's going at 10 inches a minute. And if I want to instantly go to 400 inches a minute, I can just tap that button, and totally changed how I feel about operating this machine.